So we are finally ready now. The much anticipated matchup between the Oakland Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl 37.
They couldn't catch another shit. Cannons like the notice, so it's time to flip the script. Cruising through the bay on that Buccaneer battleship, sold up, screaming out, so Buck, what you heard? So Buck, what you heard? So Buck, what you heard? So Buck, what you heard?
All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard, and you know what I always say: you follow me, follow you back. Always remember, tip your waitress. He take care of you all the time. So tonight, very special show. I'm joined by my brother, my man, Tampa Tones. How you doing, brother?
Great. Sorry, I was doing some lawn work. No, I'm just kidding. I was doing some behind the scenes things. Now I'm back. It's great to join you here, Gene, on a Thirsty Thursday, and we got a great guest. I can't wait to chat some football with her as well, and she could do the talking for herself, I'm sure. So I'll stop yapping now, and I can't wait to talk football with both of you guys and gals. I'm excited.
Yeah, you know, the off season, there's not a lot going on in the off season. It's always good to get the pulse of what's going on around the league, and we're going to start out in Miami, one of my other, outside of Tampa, one of my other favorite spots to hang out with. So I am joined tonight by Dolphin72. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
Great follow, by the way. Great football IQ. And I'm so happy to have you on. Tell everybody about yourself a little bit and how they can follow you and your different social media outlets.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think a crossover episode is super fun. I like the idea. Yeah, you can follow me on doll_fan72 on X and IG. I don't know what I do on IG, so don't.
Oh, we still call it Twitter here, but
that's great. Because Twitter, it's a wild west. So if you just want to like come hang out and hear just random thoughts in my head in the off season, go ahead. I can't promise you anything. Once the season starts, it'll be all Dolphins. But for now, we're just having fun.
You know, that's the beauty of it right here. I know the draft, we just got finished with the draft, and Bucs fans, we will definitely be talking about the draft shortly. I followed you. I've basically followed your reactions to some of the picks, and it was very entertaining, I must say. And now that you've had a chance to kind of take a step back and look at everything, how do you feel about how your Miami Dolphins did as far as the draft goes?
I'd say that I've come from the ledge. I've come off the ledge. The draft night, I was on the ledge, and I will say the Bucs had a very similar draft to what a lot of Dolphin fans wanted. You got Barton. We wanted JPJ. I think the initial reaction was just, this isn't the order we wanted to get the players that we want to get. And we all had, names we wanted, but I would give the Dolphins like a B-. Now that I've had a chance to step back, start my initial research on who we chose. It's like a B-, but I really think that we wanted to shore up that O-line better than we did, or at least with different players than we did. But we have our guys, and now we're rocking with them. So,
one of the questions that I had for you, I know when you played in the playoffs, defense seemed to be somewhat of an issue, and you weren't getting as much pressure on the quarterback as I'd seen you get throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing that's one of the things I identified that in secondary was, I don't know if you were banged up. I'm trying to remember back to that, but I think there may have been injuries, but it just wasn't a team that we saw throughout the regular season. And when you step back and you look at some of the players like Chop Robinson, I know there were a lot of Bucs fans that wanted to get him, wanted him to come to Tampa. How do you feel about that pick now?
I like it. I like it now. Initially, we got to remember though, like end of the season playoffs, we were battered down. Chubb and Jalen Phillips, they were out with injuries. Thursday before the playoff game, we signed 4 defensive players off the street. I couldn't even tell you their names to this day. We just needed bodies. And so our defensive production really plummeted. We had Eli Apple out there, who, if you follow me, you know that I hate that man with a passion. And I say that he couldn't cover bread with peanut butter.
Yeah.
He's terrible. So we didn't have Xavier Howard. So injuries really batted us down. And starting the season, we're not going to have Phillips and Chubb as well. They're probably not coming back till, I've heard, anywhere from like October to November.
Yeah.
So having a guy like Chop Robinson now coming in to shore up the defense, we have a first-year defensive coordinator with Anthony Weaver, really hoping to kind of help us out to start off the season.
What can you tell us about him? I mean, what kind of defensive scheme are we looking at here?
So I don't know. I'm going to be honest. He's had, I think, like 1 press conference, and he really didn't say much. Said he wants to mix it up. I think it's going to be some type of zone variation with some man spread out. It sounds like, I don't know. I'm hoping there's more man than zone. I'm a big zone hater. I hate a soft zone. Fangio loved it. But I don't know. We're all really actually excited to kind of see what he comes up with. It seems like he's young, he's hungry, and he's innovative. So I'm hoping that he just kind of, nobody knows what to expect from him, and he comes out swinging.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And I know that on the Buccateers, one of the shows that we kind of cross over, I'm on his show, he's on my show. They went into a lot of detail about, what the Bucs have done. And I think the Bucs have gone out and grabbed best player available in a lot of positions, players that you can just kind of plug in and they can play. I love what they've done with the offensive line. Every time you're addressing the trenches, that's huge. That is just huge to be able to do that. You're alleviating a lot of pressure, on your quarterback. You're keeping your quarterback upright, giving him more opportunities to get the ball out and that kind of thing. Tones, we haven't heard from you, man. What you doing?
Yeah, sorry, I'm sharing the wealth, sharing the love, getting the show out. Now that my producer thumbs are down, I don't get paid enough for that role. I'm kidding over there, but David's checking in. Hi, Bucs fans. I'm excited, man, for this Bucs draft class. I think it's going to be incredible. I think they did a lot of filling needs and best player available, both of those things, right? Because they needed offensive line bad, but at the same time, Graham Barton was probably the best interior offensive lineman available. So they did go with the need, but they went with the best need available there. Then throughout the draft, wide receiver, Chris Godwin, as much as Bucs fans hate to hear this, he's probably, or at least moderate chance of being gone next year. They go with McMillan, wide receiver out of Washington, round 3, one of the best receivers available, but at the same time, one of the better players available. And then later in the draft, you go O-line, you go tight end. They doubled up on interior O-line. That's because I think they like Elijah Klein a lot. Jason Light loves his small school prospects as well, especially on offensive line, that's for sure. And then tight end. I think that's bad news for one of the other young tight ends in that room, right? So those last 2 picks, definitely they did go best player available, at least in their mindset. But at the same time, the front end of the draft, slot receiver, they might need that next year. Boom. Starting center, they'll need that this year. Boom. You hit on those things. Backup running back, you hit on something like that. Safety, you need a third one. You only got 2 on the roster, really. So the Bucs did a great job at not only drafting needs, but at certain points in times as well, drafting the best players available in this draft.
I like it. And, like you said, Doll, there's a serious comparison here. Just what your team has done versus what the Bucs have done. I mean, you go out and get an edge rusher. The Bucs definitely need an edge rusher. And congratulations, by the way, you are getting Shaq Barrett, one of my favorite players. Just since he's been in Tampa, he's just been a breath of fresh air. I mean, we've been so stagnant at the edge rusher position. With him coming off of a catastrophic injury and getting back into playing shape, we didn't see the Shaq Barrett we're used to. I think you guys are in for a surprise, a pleasant surprise, I believe, when you see him on the field. He's a guy, his motor's always going, and he's got a nose for the ball. So you guys are very fortunate to get a Shaq Barrett. I think he wanted to stay in Tampa too, by the way. So there's that. Looking at your draft board, I mean, you picked up Patrick Paul out of Houston, and I love the pick. I thought that was a really good pick. The one that really stood out to me throughout all of your draft is Jalen Wright, running back out of Tennessee. In my opinion, he was the third best back in the draft. And I think that he was slated to go a lot higher than what he did, and you guys got lucky and fell to him.
Yeah. I think people had him going, I want to say second, third round. But he fell to us. I think he's a great fit for the outside zone run scheme we run. But I'll be honest, I'm excited about him. I think a lot of Dolphin fans wanted a big 3rd and 1 bulldozer. Because now we have basically 3 really fast, small, agile guys. But we don't have that Marshawn Lynch, Derrick Henry, and I think that's what we were really hoping to pick up this offseason so that McDaniel stops calling a red zone fade on 3rd and 1.
Yes.
And that, that we can run the ball aggressively. But I love the pick. I mean, the guy absolutely is fantastic. I mean, but him and Achane with Mozart maybe only having 1 or 2 more years left in him, would be a great, I want to say Ricky Ronnie duo, like a nice little speedster duo. But I still think that we're missing that fullback, aggressive.
For me, I think that he's going to really help Tua. He's got really nice hands, by the way. Just watching him, fluid motion, catching the ball and moving up the field. Seeing a lot of good vision as well, and not running in the wrong hole. I think he's a guy that will definitely. He's somebody that I'm watching closely. I think that Jalen Wright will definitely improve your offense as we see it.
Yeah, I like Jalen Wright, and I like John. I know it's not the draft, but a guy who should help Jalen Wright and all the other running backs. I think Dolphins lead the league in hoarding running backs now, which isn't a bad thing because, as we've seen last year, a rookie like Devin Ackney gets hurt, right? Raheem Mostert gets hurt. So you need all these bodies in there. Now they got Jalen Wright, still got Jeff Wilson. But I think a signing like Jonnu Smith is going to do them a lot of good. The tight end, he's a really good blocking tight end. He could catch a lot of passes, too. We've seen him before in Tennessee and Atlanta, not so much New England, but in Tennessee and Atlanta have a really effective role in not only the pass game, but the run block game as well. I think that's a very good signing for this Miami offense. In years past, you kind of seen them with more of the prototypical pass-catching tight ends like a Mike Gesicki or the other kid from Chicago, a Shaheen in years past. Now they're kind of developing more into the Jonnu Smith type tight end. Still got Durham Smythe as well. So I think they're going to help out the run game.
Yeah, definitely. So I know one question I did have for you as a longtime Dolphin fan, what is your take on Tua? Is Tua your franchise quarterback, or is this somebody he's like Jameis Winston was here. You either like him or you don't like him and you want to launch his ass into the sun, that kind of thing. And I was just wondering, what is your take? Because I've seen him have some brilliant games, and then I've seen him just like make me scratch my head like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, he's if you want to split the fan base fast and efficiently and troll them, just pick a side. Because the other side will come for you. I'm pretty neutral on Tua. I'll be honest. I'm a big defensive girl, so you'll see me talk a lot more about like the defensive side of the ball. I didn't want to sign Tua. I wasn't on the tank for Tua train. His injuries coming out of college questioned me. With the hip, that's going to affect your mobility as a quarterback. And
right.
We saw it did. When he was starting to fall and when he got those concussions, he admitted that it was because subconsciously he was trying to fall away from the hip, leaving his head unprotected. That was part of the problem with the concussions. But last year he proved that he can finish the season out. Unfortunately, it was an inconsistent season. Hey, Will. And it was an inconsistent season, but that also comes down. We had a lot of injuries. I think it was like 14 different starting offensive line changes in the season, like the most I've ever seen. So I think that it's hard to really evaluate him. I was a big fan of picking up the option and paying him like middle of the road. He got not highest paid, not just middle of the road. Give him like a couple more years because we don't have anybody in the wings. We don't have any backup. There's no one. I wanted us to go out and sign Russell Wilson, but the Steelers poached him from me. I wanted to get like a solid vet that could teach, but also fill in if possible. But yeah, I'm pretty middle of the road on Tua. But I mean, I think that we're stuck with him. Whether you love him or hate him, he's going to be your quarterback for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, I was just gonna say quick, interesting on Tua. I was talking with my brother and Pops the other day, and we were like trying to name the best lefty QBs of all time, right? And it's kind of weird because in recent memory, Tua is easily the best lefty quarterback. You can't really think of another lefty who gives. Yeah, Michael Vick, exactly. That was the one that we named as well. But him and Tua now are probably 7-8 seasons apart potentially. So, they're very rare items in the game. And I think that's what makes Tua. I love Tua. That's what I think that's where some of my love comes, is seeing a lefty adapt to the game as well as Tua has, being a little undersized as well. You had Steve Young, then you had Michael Vick. Now you got Tua, the lefty. I think Tua is going to be right up there at the end of the day. Don't know if he's going to be Hall of Fame worthy. Don't know if he's going to be all pro worthy, but he's going to be a hell of a quarterback in the league if he could fend off those injuries. And Miami's doing the best they can now to sign and build an O-line around him. Although they did lose Hunt, I think their O-line is still pretty sustainable. I think Tua's in for a huge year this year as Waddle, Berrios, Tyreek Hill, hell of an offense.
And what I really like too is that division. I don't like the Bills. I like watching them play. Sometimes I'm not a big Bills fan. I had a Bills podcaster on with me, and he was just so arrogant. I mean, he was like, we'll beat New England. Oh, we'll sweep Miami. We'll do this. We'll do this. And this has been 3 years ago. He just ran down all these teams in the division. And I think that was the year that Buffalo really didn't do a whole lot against the division. So I don't know. It's one of the more entertaining divisions to me. I think Miami's in a spot right now where everything runs through Miami. I mean, New York is trying to recover. Buffalo, I don't know what the hell is going on with Buffalo. New England is still trying to figure it all out. And I don't know. Honestly, Miami's probably the most consistent with the same coach, with the majority of your team intact. I don't know. How do you guys feel? What do you think?
We'll let Dolphin roll first because I got a lot of thoughts, a lot of one show like, but I'll save him for after her.
I mean, I hate them all. That's just kind of. I mean, right now it's kind of like the Dolphin Bills have the biggest rivalry because the Jets are like, they're just like the child like in poverty that
Oh yeah, the Jets.
You kind of are just like, all right, honey, yeah, you'll do better next year. Everybody knows it's not going to happen, but you kind of just pity them. The Patriots are just rebuilding, so they're kind of irrelevant as well to us right now. And they're just holding on to their Tom Brady as long as they can, which is funny because they say that we hold on to Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, yeah.
It's kind of like, wow, full circle life, huh? And then the Bills are usually just drunk, jumping off tables, setting themselves on fire. So I really can't.
Come on now, there's got to be one team out of that division. There's got to be one over the rest of them that you're like me in Atlanta. I am so happy Atlanta has an empty Super Bowl trophy case. It just makes me happy. Every time they lose in the playoffs or they get eliminated from playoff contention, I celebrate. I'm like the 72 Dolphins. I'm going to start bringing out champagne when they get eliminated. I think I need to start doing that.
Hatred goes Bills, Patriots, and then Jets.
Okay. That's reasonable.
You know, when
Very.
Tom Brady was in the dynasty and the Bills were irrelevant, you know, they were switched. But now that's how the hatred goes. Now, I follow some Bills fans, and we have like a truce for the offseason. I won't talk with them during the season.
Yeah.
There's some that are it's not all Bills fans, just like I don't speak for all Dolphin fans because there's some wackos out there too.
I've seen this.
But yeah, otherwise, no. I laugh in your face. And when you didn't sign your entire team, and then you get trading out of the first round, I'm sorry, that was hysterical.
Hilarious. And I think your division bodes well for only the Dolphins this year. I think Bills could maybe make a run at the wild card, maybe the Jets as well. But in terms of coming for that division title, I think it's solely the Dolphins to lose. And a lot of those teams shot themselves in the foot along the way. What doomed the Jets big time, they drafted Mekhi Becton over Tristan Wirfs. Could you imagine if the Jets had Tristan Wirfs protecting Aaron Rodgers? I know Rodgers is one and done last year, literally one play and done, something like that. But could you imagine this year, you know, if Wirfs was protecting Rodgers? And then Von Miller. Bills gave him so much money, and over the hill Von Miller, he's really eating up a lot of their cap. That's really hindering that team. Hell, that's honestly why they had to trade back and accumulate picks. Too bad they did it with the Chiefs. That's a whole nother story.
Yes.
A bunch of morons over there. And then, you know, the Patriots. You got the Mac Jones miss. When you miss on a first-round quarterback, that sets your franchise back a half decade at the very least, because you put so much tools around him, coaching and player and personnel-wise, and for it not to build out. Now you see them have to re-gut the whole thing. I like what New England's doing with Gerard Mayo, Drake May, and those guys, but it's going to take them 3-4 seasons to really get rolling again. So I think the Dolphins have a very big 2 to 4 year, we're not going to call it window, we'll call it a glass door, because I don't think it'll ever be shut. I think it might be nearing shut, then they could open it again. Very good time to be a Dolphins fan. Big Mike McDaniel guy, he's got to earn it this year.
Yeah, he's in the hot seat. He's got to win. He's got to win a playoff game. He's got to show that we're not just a September team, and that's kind of like what it's at. It's a big year for him and Tua. They both need to really show out this year, and sadly, like a lot of Dolphin fans are like, our bare minimum is winning a playoff game. We have the longest drought not winning a playoff game in the NFL right now, and that's unacceptable.
So I had a question here from the chat.
Yeah,
I guess they already asked. How far can Tua take this team? Because to me, it seems like it's not a Super Bowl opportunity this next draft. Free agency, I don't waste time trying to move on. So do you think it's like, I could see Tua. I've seen some games where I've seen Tua where he's looked like he's the guy that can lead you in the playoffs. I know we haven't seen it yet. And then there are other games, like when Tyreek Hill went down with an injury, he just looked like a different player. So I think when he's got all his weapons, he's got all his tools, the guy is, you know, he can ball out. But then there are other times where he looks really inconsistent at times. So for you, you know, going up against top tier teams in the playoffs, how do you feel that Tua can do? Can he lead this team to a Super Bowl? Do you see him leading this team to a Super Bowl?
We saw this year with Brock Purdy. I mean, he led the Niners to a Super Bowl. And I think it comes down to Tua can do it as long as you're not solely relying on Tua to do it. You know, you have to have the run game. You have to take the pressure off him. Your defense has to be creating havoc, has to be creating turnovers. Your special teams even has to be making the plays. I think too many people rely on one factor of a football game to determine that team's success. The whole team has to be running like a well-oiled machine. McDaniel has to be calling the right plays at the right time. So it's not just Tua. Sure, he's made some questionable throws, questionable passes, but so is Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs last year had the highest drop rate in the league. You know, it's not always just on the quarterback. Everybody around has to be working, functioning, healthy. So can he take them? Yes. But the whole team as a whole has to be functioning for it to happen.
I totally agree. I mean, when this team is 100% healthy, they're scary to watch. And they've run up the score on a few people when they've been 100% healthy and everybody's playing like they're supposed to and doing their job. So I 100% agree with that.
And they got screwed last year to me in the playoff draw. You know, cold night, Kansas City. That's just bad luck right there. Obviously, you know, they let it go a little bit as the season wound down. All they had to win is one of those games, and they could have avoided that. But at the end of the day, they still drew the short end of the stick. As Gene said, I remember them you know, they lambasted the Broncos. You know, I thought they were going to score I thought they were going to get 300 that damn day. So, you know, they're an incredible offense to watch. When things are rolling, very little offenses do it better than Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins.
So next question from J-Lo, my man J-Lo. Do the Dolphins have what it takes to compete in the AFC against the Chiefs, just based on what they've done in the offseason? And we'll look at the offseason from the beginning up until now, what they've done with free agency, what they've done with the draft, undrafted free agents. Do you think that a healthy Miami Dolphins team, do they have what it takes?
To be seen, only because we have a first-year defensive coordinator. So I'm not sure if that's going to work smoothly. There might be some hiccups. I'm not sure what defense he's going to put out 100%. I'm not really sure who this offseason is going to make the team and who's going to be starting, especially in like that cornerback role. We have Jalen Ramsey shut down. Without Xavier Howard, that other spot's up for grabs. And I need to see who's stepping up. Offensively, I think we can go toe-to-toe with Mahomes. With the weapons that we have, you know, we've shored up the offensive line a little bit now. We got Aaron Brewer at center. Connor Williams might be back. You know, we have a little bit more depth there than we did last year. You know, we got Chop Robinson to fill in. I think if he can come out and play and fits right into the scheme, he could disrupt. Because Mahomes, you got to remember, if you disrupt and you have all of his options are covered and you can get after him, he'll eventually start to mess up. If you're constantly in his space, look at what oh my God, what's his name on the Raiders that just gets to Mahomes every time? And
Max Crosby.
Yeah, Crosby.
Off his game every time they play because he gets in Mahomes' head. Yeah. Obviously, the Chiefs usually pull that out. But I think if you can disrupt Mahomes, get in there. If you have corners that can get that ball, I think it's possible. I think it's fully possible. Will it be this year? There's too many variables right now for me to see. But I'm never going to bet against the Dolphins.
Yeah, hard to bet against the Dolphins when they're your team, especially. But this year they're primed, and Mike McDaniels knows that. He's on the hot seat. Waddle, he's looking for that money as well, so he's going to ball.
Oh, you know he's going to ball out. I mean, this is a contract season for him, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it is.
We just picked up his 5th year. Him and Jalen Phillips are both looking to get paid at the end of the year.
Oh yeah. So there we go. I love it. And you know, again, well, here's another question. This is a good one here. Do you ever feel like McDaniels outsmarts himself? I know he's smart and many love him, but sometimes I feel like he thinks he's bigger than the room.
All the time. One of McDaniel's problems, I think, is that he is great at coming up with new plays, figuring out how to make this offense work for Tua and his strengths. You saw that at the start of last year. But the problem is that he abandons the basic fundamentals of the game because he's too busy trying to do a creative play and to think what the other team's going to do instead of like sometimes like just run the ball, you know, send your fullback up the middle, like just do a basic, you know, he's too busy trying to do 18 motions. And you saw it last year. Like even the team was confused by how many motions we were doing. People weren't on their marks. Tua's trying to direct each other. Like sometimes he does too much, and somebody needs to like reel him back in.
I don't blame you for thinking that. Sometimes coaches could fall in that trap. McDaniel certainly falls from the Shanahan tree, so you know that's not a coincidence.
You know how Shanny likes to get it done.
I like to cut that tree down, by the way. It's a dead, rotting tree. Okay, Shanahan has proven it every Super Bowl he's lost. cut the tree down. Be your own man, McDaniel, is what I like to say.
Yep,
Be a real
you're
boy.
not wrong. That's why I like Todd Bowles a lot. He came from a tree, but he's his own guy, right? And you saw that right away. He got Byron Leftwich the hell out of the
I
offensive
love Todd Bowles,
coordinator
by the
role.
way. I love him.
I'm a big Todd Bowles guy.
I think that, I think that he just had a bad general manager in New York. He'd probably still be there. So there's that. But Dala, I do want to ask you, I've been seeing this and I know you've been like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, but why is everybody giving Dolphins Twitter? Why is everybody giving them the business? I don't get it. I see these tweets out there and they're like, there was one where the girl had on a bikini and she had like dolphins on her boobs. I was like, what is this all about? I mean, where is this coming from? And everybody tries to throw shade at Dolphins Twitter, and I just don't get it.
It's me. It was my fault. Allegedly. I'm getting the blame. I got bored one day and I took a picture and had some underboob showing, nothing explicit. But the caption was, oh, look, I'm infamous for not ever making my bed. I don't believe in making your bed. I don't think it makes you more functional throughout that day.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
So I had made my bed that day and I posted a picture. And next thing I knew, it got almost 200,000 views. And Dolphins Twitter started trending. And it just exploded. And then people started saying, that it was clickbait. And I was like, I don't get paid for Twitter. I don't have the fancy Twitter. Like, that's why when I make a typo, I can't edit that shit. Like, we just roll with it. And other Dolphins girls in, unison kind of like started posting some cleavage pictures to like be like, do you respect me now? Like, am I any less than her now? And it was, bigger game. And so,
okay.
It kind of became like a solidarity inside joke between all of us. And every time one of us did it, it would trend. And then people were like, oh, these whores. And I was like, oh, these whores wouldn't look at you twice in the street. So what does that say?
Oh, so yeah, that's what started the war. Okay.
That's what started it. And that's what led to, as we talked about, the me drawing out plays. Yeah. And I had one where I like
real quick. I have to set up the context for this. So I was on Instagram and I'm scrolling through and I think we follow each other on Instagram, and she's got a notepad up and she's breaking down the cover 3. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, she just broke down the cover 3. And she just went through it, and she didn't use the verbiage that a lot of other people use, but if you saw it, you understood what she was talking about. So immediately my mind goes, okay, let's go to the comments and see what the comments are saying. And all these assholes are just like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You said it all wrong. And I'm like, you dumbass, you knew what she was talking about when you were looking at this. And she actually broke down to cover 3. And I'm like, you know what? She knows what she's talking about. I got to get her on the show. I love people that know football, and it has nothing to do with looks or anything like that. I feel like females deserve a space, within the NFL as well. I mean, I think it needs to be normalized where we talk about our different views of football, and it shouldn't have anything to do with gender.
Right.
Ginger.
No,
take a drink. I know.
Take a shot every time you mess up. Yeah, no, I agree. I like to say that the guys are just mad because we hold our brain power in our boobs, and that's why they don't want to argue with us. Seriously. If you come to them with like a well thought out, like football knowledgeable thing, when they don't know what to say back to you, it's because you're a girl. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about because you're a girl. You just need to show your boobs to get clickbait. And it's like, not really. And, then it was, she didn't use the right
terms.
The right terms. Or I think I said like a cross route, and like I said a crosser instead of a crossing route. And I'm like, they're crossing. Like I call it a crosser, but it's the same thing. And you can, people in football, that isn't like the be all end all
Right.
term that everybody uses.
But the fact that you're learning this, you're talking about 7-on-7s and you're actively involved. I mean, that's what I love. I love seeing that. I think it makes the game a lot more fun, getting a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. And nothing helps grow the game like ladies in football. And who the hell cares? Guy, girl, dog, for whatever reason. I'll talk sports with the best of them. The more people get in brain power behind the sport, the better. I don't know why more guys want to enjoy talking the pigskin with more ladies, quite frankly, opening up.
They say they want their girlfriends to stop complaining when they watch the sport.
Yeah.
Well, now here we are watching it with you. You should want the banter.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. It's like the vice versa for WNBA, right? It's like guys are here clamoring to get into the WNBA right now, and you kind of have the older WNBA legends kind of, shooing off the Caitlin Clarkies of the world. So, it's just funny. But, hey, I'm all for it, man. It's an honor to be here talking sports with the lady who's very knowledgeable of the sport. So, damn it, you men out there need to give better chances to the lady football fan base. That's
do better.
And me and Gene,
and we don't all know everything, by the way. Like, I don't know everything, and it's okay to be like, you know what? I don't know everything, and he knows something I don't know, and I know something he doesn't know. Plus, we can both watch the same game and be focused on two completely different parts of the game. So when we talk, you're like, no, this was wrong. I'm like, this was wrong. We can both be right and just have different focal points, and that's okay. That's normal.
I think
I love this comment by 305 Sports Now. Super duper her fault.
305 Sports is awesome. His name's Will. He does a Dolphins and a Miami Hurricanes podcast. He's really, really big in college football with you. We guest appear on each other's podcasts. Super great.
That's the kind of thing I like. I love the collaborations, and again, when camp comes around, I love to have you on again because I'm really enjoying this, and it's going to be really cool to our teams playing against each other in camp. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm down. My oldest starts 2-a-days in the summer, so as long as I'm around, I'm here.
Oh God,
yeah,
2-a-days.
Those are going to be some good camp battles, man. Those are better than the preseason game nowadays. The camp battles. I don't want to call it the wrong thing though, just in case. I'll call it preseason together, whatever the hell you. I think me and Gene would be eating pirates' booty if we were graded on terminology. That's for damn sure. I'll call. Isn't your stadium correct me wrong with the pool? Is that you guys or the Jaguars?
No, we have the pirate ship.
You're the pirate ship.
Don't the Rays have a pool, Gene?
Yeah, the Rays have a pool, and I think
Jacksonville's the one with the pool. I was always like, it could be fun, but could it be dirty?
Yeah, for real. I'm leery about getting in there.
Yeah. We'll stay away from that. But no, I'd bring some bath soap or something like that. That's for sure.
Shout out to Emily Compa. Nice to see you again, my friend. Hopefully everything's going well. Huge football fan as well. Like I said, I enjoy having the ladies out here to, kind of get their point across. The one thing I do love, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they do the red. What is it called? Is it Ladies in Red or what is it called?
Yeah, Ladies in Red.
Yeah. And so basically the women, this is like geared for the females to get them more involved in the in the supporting the Bucs. And it's a really cool thing. And just seeing all these women in here supporting this team. And that's another thing that I really love about this team is just how they really, they're trying to draw as many people in as they can the best way they can.
I love that. Ladies in Red. Maybe the Dolphins need to do something like that. Like
I would love to see it. I think that you could really do a lot, where they're getting to meet the upper management, the coaches, the players, and just doing something like that, man. I mean, it just, again, it draws more people in.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the woman of teal. You get.
Is that the color? Is it teal?
Aqua. It's aqua, but it's basically teal. Yeah. So this is the old school logo, so the colors are a little bit darker.
Oh, so there we go. Okay.
There's a big debate. We want this. Okay, Dolphins, if you're watching, we want this back.
Yes, the OG. Come on now, we're still clamoring for
90s logo. We want it back. We love throwbacks over here.
Yes.
Well, speaking of throwbacks, I do want to do this because we tried it. We tried it a couple of weeks ago. Had a great time.
Yeah.
And we did a Bucks draft. So basically, and these are the rules, folks. So if you're following along, trust me here, everybody gets a pick. You have. We're going to do 10 picks of any player that played for the Miami Dolphins. Could have been 72, 69, yesterday. It doesn't matter. You're picking your 10 players.
Yep.
Once the player is picked, they come off the board. You got to pick somebody else, and we'll go through and just kind of get your thoughts on how are you drafting. So let me, while we're doing this, give everybody a chance to get ready here.
Let me stretch out a little bit.
Listen, I've been stressed about this one. We've talked about
come on, it's fun.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's no wrong answer.
Oh, Dolphins will come for me if I choose the wrong ones. Don't even hesitate. I would like to preface this, Dolphin fans, that, and I told you this earlier, whatever positions I don't fill in my draft, I am under the assumption, as the GM, that my current roster will fill those spots.
There we go.
That is how I'm drafting. If you question some of the things that I plan to do, that is what I'm doing. Is that okay? Maybe I don't need to upgrade at that position because maybe I like who we have now.
I'm so comfortable with my picks. I'm going to go last, and I want you guys to pick a number between 1 and 10, and whoever's the closest will pick first. And Doll, since you are the special guest,
7. There's a B. I'm going to go 7, but I got to kill a B.
Okay.
Hey, what is this? A Diamondbacks game from the other night? They were delayed for 2 hours.
All right, we're good.
Gene is in Arizona, so maybe the Bees are just following Gene. But
very well be.
Okay,
she goes 7. I'll go 3.
Okay, it was 8. Okay, so you get to pick first.
I'm going first.
Tones, and in Tones, you get to pick, and I'll pick last.
Okay.
So let's see. Hold on. Let me get let's see. Yeah. All right.
The first round of the 2024 All Dolphin Draft, Doll selects Larry Zonka, fullback, 1972 undefeated Dolphins.
I like that
one. I already don't like you.
Listen, I already talked about who we want, our needs that we didn't have.
All right. All right, Tones, you are on the clock.
Oh, this is tough, but give me my man Derek Brooks, linebacker.
We're doing Dolphins only.
Dolphins only.
Okay, well, man, give me Dan Marino. I know maybe you don't need to upgrade there, but give me Dan Marino. What hurts with Dan Marino? Sorry, man, I'm so in love with Derek Brooks. Could you put Derek Brooks on the Dolphins? No, I'm kidding. But I could have Zach Thomas, honorable mention. I'll say that for linebacker, but give me Dan Marino.
He's still available.
I know, but I'm going Dan Marino. If I could upgrade it that greatly, give me Dan Marino. That's a big upgrade there, in my opinion. I love Tua. I know I gloated for Tua, but give me my man Dan.
I'm taking Bob Greasy.
Okay.
All right. So you are up next, Doll.
Okay. I am going with Patrick Surtain, cornerback.
Nice.
Opposite of Jalen Ramsey, baby.
That's filthy.
How sick would that be in real life?
Okay, Tones.
Give me Jason Taylor. He's a specimen. He's a freak out there. I'll take he started his career, ended his career, played the middle of his career in Miami. He just hopped all around Miami. Give me Jason Taylor.
All right. So for me, I think I'm going to take Mark Super Duper.
That's a great pick.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
All right. I am going third pick overall. My favorite Dolphin of all time, Cameron Wake.
Okay. Nice pick.
I
think that's a good one. He's a beast. Or he was a beast.
I loved Cameron Wake.
One of the best Finns of all time.
100%.
Okay, Tones.
I mentioned him earlier. Give me Zach Thomas. Why not? I'd feel bad if I mention him and then don't even draft the guy. So, no, he was a legend, though, regardless. He's just an incredible football player. So, I'll ride with my guy, Big Zach.
Also, fun fact, I named my kid after Cameron Wake, by the way. My middle son is named after Cameron Wake. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. So, I think... I'm looking at my draft board here.
A lot of good ones left.
I'm going with Brian Cox.
Cox? Okay.
Off the board.
Off the board. All right.
All right.
Let me see. I'm going to go Richmond Webb.
Nice.
Should be in the Hall of Fame. Dolphins are petitioning. He has 3 years left of eligibility. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Can't argue with that one.
We had a couple bucks that, took a while to get over. Rondé Barber specifically, but once they're over, it's a great feeling. I'm going to go with, as I'm looking at my draft board, people flying left and right. My Lord, what can you expect? Give me Larry Little.
Nice.
Little was an elite offensive lineman, and Dolphins set the rushing record when he was playing way back in the day. So, I'll try and repace myself with Larry Little.
I'm going special teams. I'm going to take Olindo Mare.
Okay.
Oh, Lindo. He was fun.
Yeah.
He was very fun.
All right. I'm going Paul Warfield.
I hate you. Again.
Nabbed.
It's not funny.
It's kind of funny.
He's a sore loser, too, by the way. That's why All right, Tones, my man.
Give me I'm between two. You know what? I give me Mercury Morris.
Ooh,
Nice pick.
Throwing it back. I won't mention my other one because I'm saving him for next, but give me Mercury Morris. Yeah, I've realized I almost had a terrible poker face mentioning Zach Thomas earlier. My Lord. Giving away draft picks out here.
All right. I think I am going to take Terrell Buckley.
Okay.
I like that.
All right. I'm going Jim Mandich.
Nice pick. I need to pay attention to what you're doing here.
Oh, I have it written out. I have them ranked. I'm ready to go.
Hey, since Miami is kind of Wildcat Nation, and
oh my God, I know who you're taking to.
Give me Ricky Williams, baby. Let's ride. I'll ride with him and Mercury Morris back there all day while I got my all-star right guard blocking for it. How about that?
All right. And because my man played with Cadillac Williams, I'm going to go ahead and take Ronnie Brown.
I'm going to grab my boy Dwight Stevenson, protect Tua, Hall of Fame center.
I like that a lot. And to give my man Dan Marino somebody to go through. I know he was there briefly, but had a couple of great seasons there. Give me Brandon Marshall. 2 really good seasons with the Dolphins in the middle of his prime. Could you imagine Dan Marino having somebody like Brandon Marshall to throw?
I still have his jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was a beast. He was a beast there. It was short, but he was really good. Back-to-back, what was it, 1,200-yard season, something like that? Or 1,100 yards, something like that.
All right. So I am going to take Duriel Harris, wide receiver.
Okay. I'm going to take Can we take current players?
Yeah, you can take anybody you want.
I'm taking Tyreek.
I was thinking about that.
I'm keeping Reek on my team because I like him with work. All right. So we can stay with Tua. He needs to stay with Tua.
Yeah, it's only fitting. It's only fitting. I will take. Well, I'm going to go with an all-star linebacker. I got Jason Taylor. I got Zach Thomas. Now, give me the former Notre Dame linebacker, Nick Bonasanti. Yep.
Bonasanti. Yeah.
Yep. Give me him out of Notre Dame. A little bit undersized, but could you imagine him, Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas together at linebacker? So, I'm stuffing everybody out here. Let's go.
Okay.
Might not fit the defense, but we'll make it work. We'll play like a 3-4-4-3 hybrid,
I think I am going to take Jawan James.
Okay.
I need O-line help.
I am going to go special teams because everybody knows how I feel about Braxton Berrios. And I'm going Ted Ginn Jr. for my return man again.
Oh, man. You can't go wrong with that pick.
Sure, does he drop some things? Yeah, fast as hell. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a good one. I'm going to go with.
Hold on 1 second here. Let's see. Ted.
No worries. Now, does the duration? I should have asked.
It doesn't matter. As long as they wear a uniform.
Give me Chris Carter, baby. All he does is catches touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Hall of Fame wide receiver, Dan Marino, Chris Carter, Brandon Marshall.
That's a good.
Why not? Why not? All he does is catch touchdowns. Sorry, Gene. I don't know if I, jumped the gun.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to take Irving Fryer.
Okay.
That's a good one. Mean Gene with the sleeper.
Okay, my final pick, to no one's surprise, bring Xavier Howard back home to mama. It's my favorite guy, and I'm bringing him back.
Coming back.
Wasn't ready to let him go.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
Ramsey and Howard in that backfield.
Yeah, I mean, not too shabby. I'm going to use linebackers to cover. That's what I'm doing. And speaking of linebackers, I'm sticking with it. Give me the late, great Junior Seau. Incredible all-around NFL player, Hall of Famer, gone way too soon. Tragedy, but had a couple of really solid years with the Dolphins in between a great career with San Diego and New England. So give me Mr. Junior Seau.
All right. And I am going to take Ndamukong Suh.
Ooh.
I-93.
That's a great one, too.
That is.
Wake together was just, we called them Tsunami. It was Tsunami. Yeah, it was Earthquake Tsunami. I had a t-shirt.
I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but the guy, financial knowledge, the guy is a freaking genius. He hangs out with Warren Buffett. I mean, his investment portfolio is just crazy.
I have to look into that then. That's interesting. I know he made a couple of really funny TikToks in the offseason, and he came to meet with the Dolphins, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, is he going to come back?" But he didn't.
So, Adal, you took Larry Zonka in the first round, Patrick Surtain, Cam Wake, Richmond Webb, Paul Warfield, Jim Maddox. I probably spelled his name wrong. Dwight Stevenson, Tyreek Hill, Ted Ginn, and Xavier Howard.
Yeah.
Tones took Dan Marino, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Larry Little, Mercury Morris, Ricky Williams, Brandon Marshall, Nick Bonaconti, Chris Carter, and Junior Seau. And I took Bob Greasy, Mark Duper, Brian Cox, Olindo Mare, Terrell Buckley, Ronnie Brown, Duriel Harris, Juwan James, Irving Fryer, and Ndamukong Suh. These are all formidable teams. These are like, you could actually build teams around these players.
Oh my God, 100%.
So again, there's no loser here, but it's just fun to get people's ideas and how they would, if they could just pick any of the players at any time. It's a lot of fun just to kind of get people's ideas on how they would do that.
Well, and you kind of see where somebody values in a team.
I know, right?
Like you can see exactly what somebody values. You two went quarterback. I went, fullback. And then, you see where people's minds are. So it's kind of fun.
What's interesting for me as a Bucs fan, you've seen how the Bucs have toiled for decades.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like decades or eons, just having subpar quarterbacks. And when we had Brad Johnson, the Bucs could win with Brad Johnson, not despite Brad Johnson. So he came in and he contributed. And I don't know how many quarterbacks we've seen, in our recent history, going up to Tom Brady and just not being able to get the job done. I mean, I look at the Miami Dolphins. I remember Jacoby Brissett being your starting quarterback, and how painful must that have been to go to a game and that's your starting quarterback out there, and you're hoping for a win, with this guy on the field.
Yeah, no, that was brutal. And we had Josh Rosen.
Oh my God. I feel sorry for Josh Rosen. I mean, Josh Rosen it just went from bad to worse for that guy. And I felt bad for him.
I mean, Jay Cutler, it was just, there's been a rotation, and none of them have been, they're not terrible. Obviously, to be a professional quarterback in the NFL, you're already a level above the rest of us, but you're still bottom of the barrel in your talent pool. And they just didn't have what it took.
100%.
I have a question. What does Bucs Nation feel about Baker Mayfield?
I like just real quick. I am on the Baker Mayfield Todd Bowles apology tour because I did want to launch their asses into the sun, and they proved me wrong. I mean, they came out there and played. When I saw Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, I said, this guy, you get the right coaches, you get the right players, you get the right tools around him, he can be an incredible quarterback. And, he went from place to place. Injuries hampered him. And when he came to Tampa, I was indifferent. Yeah. And I was like, well, we'll wait and see. And then he had some bad games, and he made some decisions that I was like, okay. And I was like, we got to get rid of him. We just got to blow the whole thing up. I was wrong. And that's what I love about my show. I do not have a problem being wrong. I love it when a quarterback or a player or coach proves me wrong. I'm good with that because we all win that way. So for me, I'm good with Baker Mayfield. I feel like he's consistent. I think a lot more pressure is on him this year because they're shoring up that offensive line. They're getting him some help. The Bucs do have a new offensive coordinator, but I'm a lot happier with this offensive coordinator because he has experience versus who we had last year. So I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, what makes Baker Mayfield different from previous underperforming first-round quarterbacks is he made do on his second or third opportunity, I should say, right? A lot of the times you get that failed first-rounder, and he didn't do bad in Cleveland. Let's not act like he was terrible in Cleveland, right? He had an up-and-down roller coaster type, but Cleveland just sold their soul for Deshaun Watson, right, wrong, or indifferent. Kind of ran Baker out of town unjustably. He had to go to Carolina, a team that was really discombobulated with one of the worst coaches in NFL history, and Matt Rule, right? He's a hell of a college guy, not meant for NFL at all. Really struggled there. Went to the Rams on short notice on a Thursday, won a game quickly. And then I think, when he came to Tampa, it's kind of the persona of, oh, man, is this just one of those failed first-round picks, or is this a guy who still has it left in the tank? Well, last year should have been his first year out of his first contract with the Browns. He was only on year 6 last year. Still a former first overall pick, so I think he still shaping his own path here. I think he's still creating his own way. We saw a guy like Alex Smith take a while to figure it out, and then he kind of figured it out. That's how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I think he's still figuring out for the better. Will he ever be the guy to get us the ring? I'm not sure, but he has the tools and capabilities of doing that with the right team around him. And I think he is the guy right now for the Bucs. I think he's the right guy. Day one, I was unsure of it, not going to lie. I was like, will this work? And more importantly so, I just wanted to give Trask a chance because we used a second-round pick on Kyle Trask. So I was under the notion that, hey, if Trask don't get a chance here, this is kind of a wasted draft pick. But Baker Mayfield came in, won me over, won a lot of us over quickly. I'm one of those guys who will jump on your bandwagon quick. I think it took me like 2.5 hours, and I was on the Baker bandwagon. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see Baker and this Bucs offense this year, and I'm behind him. I know a lot of Bucs fans are behind him, and he's an incredible guy to get behind. Just like the Command this podcast, they're incredible guys to get behind as well for the Washington Commandos over there.
Yeah, most definitely. Again, this is what I'm excited about is just seeing this team, how they build. They've gotten rid of some players, some new players have come in. How's this team going to look, at the beginning of the season? I tend to hold my judgment until the end. I don't know what these undrafted free agents, because like you guys, you haven't looked at your undrafted free agents. You may have a diamond in the rough there that you're going to bring in, and who knows? He could ball out. I mean, we had Christian Izien last year, cornerback. Nobody saw that coming, and he played very consistent, and he was able to really help this team in crunch time plays. So really excited about this upcoming season. And Dahl, I want to thank you so much for taking time out to come on with us. It wasn't as crazy as you thought it was going to be. And
yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't know what you're going to run into, so I totally get that. I went on a show and I had no idea, and I got ambushed. I mean, those guys were just like, throwing shade left and right, and I was just like, oh, I'm not much of a trash talker unless it's like the Dallas Cowboys or somebody like that. Then all bets are off. But I came in, but I love this stuff because you could talk football with somebody. Mm-hmm. Nobody has a bad opinion. In the chat, I've seen some horrendous takes, and I'm like, okay, there's no wrong way to be a fan. And that's right. What I love about this. And I take that, in stride and like, oh, okay, that's how you feel. Okay, cool. And just listening to you tonight, I mean, it was just incredible. And I've been following your content here for the past month, about a month. And I really enjoy it whenever you're live, I try to catch it and see what you're talking about. And, I hope you continue with what you're doing. It's fun. For me, I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm just out here. It's therapy for me. I get to talk about football with people that I like or people that I think are cool and have different opinions. So I appreciate you doing this. You have no idea. It's greatly appreciated.
No, I appreciate you having me. I joined the podcast space sporadically in the middle of the season. Dolphins Thirsty gave me a chance and said, hop on my podcast. And I met some really great people, and I have a lot of fun. I don't make a cent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I live in Philly. I don't live in Miami. So I don't have local fans to talk to and to, talk with. And this is fun, talking to another team and seeing how they feel and their opinions and what's going on. And I think it's awesome. I think crossovers are great. I love that you're doing this. I hope more girls, also, if any females are watching, join on. You're great guys. You're not ambushing. This is great. Pleasant. It's a great time.
Yeah, and that's kind of like Gene and I as well. He's in Arizona, I'm in Chicago, so it's nice to have a space where we don't really have at first, for the longest time, I don't think we even had another Buck fan in the state of Illinois before Tom Brady got here. But all jokes aside, it was incredible. Don't worry, I'll save my I'll hide my bad cue cards for next podcast. I had other Dolphins questions lined up to get rowdy and rambunctious. But no, all jokes aside, it was truly an honor. It was incredible. It was a blessing. And I hope we collab with you again down the line as well. It was truly, truly fun tonight. Fantastic time with both of you.
All right. So we'll go ahead and roll out. I know you want to get back to everyday life. And again, Dahl, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you again and what you got coming up next?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at doll_fan, PHAN 72. Mondays at 8, I have my own podcast called Doll's Diaries over on Dolphin Thirsty's YouTube channel. It's really spotty right now in the off season because there's not much Dolphin stuff to put out. But I try to do like Mondays at 8. Otherwise, I'm also on Finn's Talk Sports Network. You'll find me. I pop into those shows weekly. Like, just they send me a link when I'm bored. So I just have somebody to talk to other than myself.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Tampa Tones, my man, Buccateers. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and what do you have coming up?
Yeah, you can find me and find Gene a lot of the time as well, and find all the rest of the guys. We got a crew of 7 of us, so really fun stuff over there at Buccateers. It's Buccaneers, but instead of the N's, throw some T's in there, Buccateers, and you can keep up with us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, any place you could find a podcast pretty much. And we go live every Saturday and Monday for the most part, but we keep people on their tippy toes throughout the off season. And, Gene's always running some fun games over there, as are the other guys. And it's been fun stuff. We had a lot of great guests to this point so far this off season. Our month-long mock is now come and gone, so a little lost. Yeah, mocks. We did kill it, especially our Bears guest. He went 2 for 2. But, after draft talk, it gets a little dry. So this is really the fun part of the football podcasting off season, when you could talk about history and do drafts as such as we did tonight. We have Man Cave Mondays, and we might have a little bit of a bear draft for the fans, by the fans, for Buccaneers Herd and Buccateers as well. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. I can't thank Dolphin enough. Dolphin72. Everybody follow her on Twitter. That's what we go by around here, for joining us. And Gene, I look forward to seeing you probably in 48 hours or so.
There we go.
The Saturday show, brother.
Yeah. And I just want to say, just make sure and don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive, and always tip your waitress. Honestly, this was a lot of fun for me. I thank everybody in the chat. MK, Krillin, Emily Compa, thank you so much for checking us out. Emily, one of the few female listeners that actually gets in the chat and throws shade when she needs to. And she's called me out on stuff, and she's busting on some of my other listeners and stuff, but she's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Jeremy St. John's, what's going on? Command this. Just you guys, thank you. I love the chat. And everybody that, just kind of came in to support Dolphin. I appreciate you guys too. 305 Sports Now, thank you. And again, this opens up the door for me to check out different podcasts, because I don't watch ESPN. I don't watch CBS. I don't watch Fox Sports. I don't watch that stuff. I would rather listen to a podcast, because podcasters are more invested in their teams than some of these jackasses out there that read off of a script, or they have a narrative that they're pushing. So if you guys are new here, please be sure to support your podcast. Forget about these guys that don't really care about you or your fan base. They just want to push some stuff out there to get stuff started. So appreciate your the people, and that's who you should really be supporting, is your podcasters. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here, and I want to thank everybody once again. And you know what? That's it. We will probably be doing this. I'll be on again Saturday, and who knows when the season gets closer and we get into to camp, I'll definitely have Dolphin back on to talk about camp and what she's seeing.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right. Well, that's it for us, and everybody have a good night. Peace.